Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. For today, what I want to do is actually go ahead and do a second episode of my so-called fat life. For those of you guys that don't know what that is, it is actually sort of like a blog or a series of writings that are about weight loss, the process, what I feel, what I go through, etc. And today's video or topic or post would be called Mid. And it has to do with being mid-sized in a fat-phobic world. No, I'm just kidding, but it does. So I'm going to actually talk about kind of what it's been like to not be huge anymore and be mid, which I say mid in the terms of Gen Z. Gen Z is mean when they call people mid, and that's how I feel on a day-to-day basis. So let's go ahead and get started. Mid. At 331 pounds and 6'1", my pants size is 2X and my shirts are 3X. I am currently what the FAs refer to as a mid-fat. For those of you who are unaware, fat acceptance activists have a size spectrum in which they divide different groups of fat people by the amount of privilege they have. Someone smaller has more privilege, and someone larger has less. Admittedly, there may be some truth to this. It is possible that people of different sizes are treated differently. However, in my experience, so-called privilege within fatness as a spectrum is not linear. I would be interested to know what you all think in the comments below, especially those who have lost weight. As someone who at my highest was definitely deemed as super fat, my shirt and pants sizes were 4XL and I was only eclipsed in my lack of privilege by someone who would be on my 600-pound life. When I first moved to Alabama, I was not exactly welcomed with open arms. I spent a lot of time out in public, and I was quite shell-shocked from living in El Paso, and yes, that name is intentional. It is the ugliest, most depressing place I've ever lived. I was scarred by the isolation of the pandemic and the harsh bouts of dieting, particularly keto, I had subjected myself to. I didn't know how to dress either, and having grown up in Southern California where no one cared, you could even go to the store in pajamas, and then my time in El Paso, where everyone walks around with stink face and paranoia, no one ever even noticed how badly I dressed. When I got to the South, people judged. I wore this horrid gray shirt with ultraviolet pink and blue. I wore black constantly when my warm skin tone made me look like a bumblebee. And I was huge. Not cute huge, but gross, floppy-skinned, super hypo-huge, with dark circles of death under my eyes and a dull grayish pallor to my golden skin. When I reached the point of health where my skin wasn't as flappy, my golden tone returned, and I realized how horrific my fashion was. I changed my wardrobe, and instantly I was met with smiles almost everywhere I went. I was still huge, but it had become cute huge. My body was now shaped like a whale, and there were whale watchers. I'll never forget when I was called out in a parking lot last year. A random British man walked up to me, asked me if I was gay, and if I wanted to do something with him in the parking lot. I did turn him down for numerous reasons. He was a gay gym bro type that was married into submissive fat guys, but I am honestly not that kind of guy. Laugh my ass off. It does go to show that I was definitely getting that kind of attention at that size. So what about now? Where am I as a mid-fat? I definitely noticed a difference as I started losing more weight last year. More than anything, I started to fade into the background. The weird thing about going through different sizes is that your existence flickers. Being a mid-fat means I'm no longer the target of gays that like fat guys. In the gay world, appearances are everything, especially when I have always attracted the more masculine-minded type. Gays that like fat guys want you big, not whatever it is I am now. Gays that don't like fat guys don't want you fat at all, so they are off the list too. After my recent breakup, I was left in the eye of this year's caloric deficit and weight loss-induced hypostorm with little way forward. I'm good enough for the discreet and the married. Everyone is wanting me to be a secret or a one-night stand, which I'm definitely not about. The cute single gays seem to want me as a fantasy, but not a real option. In a lot of ways, the middle can feel worse. I'm thankful that my hormones are under control during this time so I can see the bigger picture. The hardest part about healing is knowing how bad you really were, but also wanting more. For most of my journey thus far, I couldn't really worry as much about the social dynamics of my size in the world. I was just busy with survival, wondering if I was getting better or worse, and slowly climbing my way out of the worst health crisis I've ever faced. Now, as I get better, I have the luxury to trip out about social things, wondering about my next flight, and being a little weirded out by vanishing into the background, as I did when I was this size in the past. So, what is it really like to be mid-fat? Is it more privilege? Being mid-fat is small enough that people don't feel the need to pump you up or feel proud of you for getting out of the house or being active. Being a mid-fat is being of a size where people in general don't really feel bad for you, nor do they like you. They don't really feel anything about you, if they even notice you at all. It's being pretty enough to be this pretty single gays fantasy, but not big enough for the gays that are into fat guys and take them seriously. It's not being far enough along on the journey to fit into a slim or muscular category for the gays into those types, or even be close enough by any stretch. Those categories still seem very far away from you. It's no longer having a spotlight on you, but fading into the background. It's no longer being the freak show, but being a supporting or background character instead. Is that more privileged? I don't think it can really be compared in that way because privilege or prejudice based on size just isn't like anything else. It's simply different. It's a phase that many people have slipped in and out of, and it's where I am now, a face in the crowd. The only real privilege is being healthier than I was. I have the energy and time to even think about this shit. I have the luxury to notice it. It's easier to walk. My mood is slowly improving. I'm feeling like having fun again. My health crisis is in its last death throes, and I'm looking towards what's ahead. And although it's a long road, it's definitely a brighter one. The other thing I notice about the middle is that your hormones go into a sort of gridlock. In the past, when I was keto, it was a struggle day to day that it was such a struggle day to day that if I was not losing every single day, I would flip out and want to quit. You are giving up so much that you better have those damn results instantly. Now, I'm going to the gym more consistently and I'm building more muscle. I can feel the difference in my arms and legs, but my clothes are fitting the same. I'm still just out of reach of another size, and a lot of my clothes are worn out, but I don't want to buy anything new because I'm likely going to shift at some point. It's quite frustrating. I plateau more, and although on this diet it isn't as much of a sacrifice and I am okay, it's still frustrating. I'm going through a major downshift of obesity-related hormones that I went through when I was keto as well, but this time I'm not going back. It's also strange to be able to see what is weight loss and obesity and what was keto. So although I still must pay attention to everything for future reference, it's very boring to the average person on the outside looking in. I'm becoming more self-conscious, unsure of how to market myself on YouTube or the dating world. Everything is just a confusing blur. People hardly ever look at you, but when they do, they can't neatly fit you into a good fat or bad fat category. You could say, it was definitely easier when I was bigger. I knew what to expect. I've lost enough that people are low-key starting to notice, but they aren't quite sure of where I'm going or where I will end up. When I'm on a dating app, I get asked, what is your goal? Over and over. I tell them 17% body fat, but the overall view is, who knows if that will ever happen. I've cried wolf so many times with those in my life that they struggle to celebrate, and the FAs still feel I'm firmly one of them. The dread and celebrations are held in bated breath, and things are clearly changing, but not changing enough. In the dating world, guys don't know if you will lose the weight or not, and they don't know if you will stay with them if you do. So what happens? No commitment. One-night stands, cheaters, etc. I understand it, even if I don't like it. It's also cringe. Not to mention branding. Am I an X fat? No. Super fat? No. Am I the caterpillar or the butterfly? No. I'm the fucking cocoon. Cocoons are boring. How do I brand boring? I asked Eric if I should cover the social things, and he said yes. He said it all goes together. Health, hormonal shifts, social cues. It's all something that a super fat person should know about the journey. So here's the truth. Mid-fat is usually a stage. When you are in the middle, you take on qualities of what you have proximity to. A bigger mid-fat has experiences similar to a super fat, and a smaller mid-fat has some overlap with small fat. When you are in the middle of mid, as I am right now, you seemingly vanish. It's a unique opportunity to get to know yourself socially without your illness. Who will you be when you are better? This is the time for you to find out on your own. What will you tolerate from other people? What are you attracted to in dating? When you see these things clearly, and not from the perspective of constant savior and victim complexes because you are now healthier, you can get real answers and orient yourself to that end. As cringe as it is, being mid-fat is the dream board phase. I can feel the call to crystals and manifestations, even if I won't actually go there. It's the time to dream and reflect and think about who you will be when you are actually healthy. To be honest, I still don't know. I don't feel as rigid as I used to. I'm not as reactive. I'm not even willing to try to put up with certain bullshit anymore. There's less drama in my personal life, but I can see me making waves publicly in the future. For now, because I must incorporate some kind of Taylor Swift reference as a Swiftie, you could say I am entering into a cruel summer, full of cringe, lots of gayness and frustration, as well as deep transformational change. Let's go. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's everything you could ever dream of, and I'm sorry I haven't been posting as much, but I have been struggling with branding. I'm not going to lie. I don't really know how to orient myself anymore. And I'm working through that for sure. I know that that's a weird thing to say, but it is definitely a factor within YouTube. And I don't know, when I was really, really huge, it was easy to just be the villain, you know? But I'm not like that anymore. And so it's like, I don't know. It's just weird. It's hard. And I guess I'm glad I wrote this. And I guess Eric was right, because it's good to be like talking about these things in a way that isn't fat acceptancy, you know, because these issues are real. But yeah, it's something I've been thinking about a lot, because it is definitely hitting different. The social dynamics are hitting different. And just like the gay world, the YouTube world is heavily influenced and based on looks. You are your brand. So I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. But anyways, I'd appreciate your guys' comments below. Let me know what you think. I know this is a cringe creator moment, but I hope you're here for it. I will talk to you guys again soon. I hope you have a good rest of your day, night, whatever. I'll see you later. I do have a video planned coming soon. So talk to you guys soon. Bye.